you could see what I see. Our community and unity. No frustration from brutality. With our black nation, a reality.
This is my perspective, it's my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, it's my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, my perspective, it's my perspective, my perspective, it's my perspective.
And welcome everybody to the New African Perspective, the show that is dedicated to the liberation of New African people. I'm your host, Brother Prophecy, and as always, I got the black tablets, the wonderful, the magnificent, powerful queens of the struggle, the most revolutionary sisters across the land. They are none other than
Sama I. Mama Ayo for the land.
Yes, sir. And we are a part of something called the New African Independence Movement, where we strive and struggle for land, independence, reparation, self-determination, self-government, all of those beautiful things that ultimately you add them up and they get freedom, y'all. Real freedom, not no pseudo freedom, but real freedom, y'all. But how y'all doing?
Fantastic.
Now y'all just came back from a meeting, Tell us about what y'all been doing this weekend.
We came back from our PCC face-to-face meeting.
Okay, what is that? What exactly is that for the people to know?
Well, it's the People Central Council of the Republic of New Africa meeting. That we have usually once a month. Yet, a couple of times a year we meet face to face. And most definitely, New African citizens are invited. We discuss some things that New African citizens need to know within their government, and they get to witness certain processes in terms of what decisions are being made based upon whatever's presented. And as a citizen, if you have a concern, you can bring it up within the PCC, and you have a nice discussion about it. And sometimes a decision is made, sometimes that's not necessary, but it's the space and place for our New African people to space and place for New African people.
Okay, so exactly what would you call it, the CC? Say it again. PCC.
It's just short for People Centered Council.
People Centered Council. Okay, exactly what is that?
So the People Centered Council is made of the district representatives from all the different districts that are certified, that represent a particular New African population, right, within the whole nation, right, but not just within the whole U.S. Empire nation, right. So you can have a certified district in Detroit, you have a certified district in Chicago, you have a certified. So the certified districts are all over. Yet, those representatives of the certified districts are actually represented on the PCC, and we come together every once in a while on a regular basis to discuss what's going on and what needs to go on based upon the activity going on in the districts, right?
Got you. So it's just part of the process to make sure that everything is continuously moving forward, and we always getting things accomplished and done.
Right.
So right. That's what's up. So every week we've been going over this beautiful document called the New African Creed, and it's just been dropping all type of principles that we really need to implement, and we're all the way up to principle number 7. What is principle number 7?
I believe that all the
land in America
upon which we have lived
for a long time,
and which we have built upon,
and which we have
fought
to stay on,
is
land for us to use as a people.
Okay, all right, all right. In other words, like I believe that all the land in America upon which we have lived for a long time, which we have worked and built upon, and which we have fought to stay on, is land that belongs to us as a people. He says what I have on mine. So basically, what we're trying to say is that this land, that we have worked for over 400 years, died and bled on, um, we have a claim to it. That's what it sounds like it's saying, because like people who not even from here who stole this land will quick to say, you don't like it, you can go back to Africa or wherever. You know what I'm saying? So what do y'all say about how y'all feel about, this particular number 7?
Oh, well, it's very clear. Sorry for that yarn, y'all. It's very, I mean, very, very, very clear. You know what I mean? This is land for us to use. We have toiled, and our blood has fell upon this land, blood, sweat, and tears to build up what we now know as the U.S. empire. And we're saying this because we find ourselves here, and we are a combination of the indigenous here on this land, of Africa, of all the Caribbean, the indigenous people all over. We have claim and right to this land because it belongs to us. It belongs to our people's people. So
Yeah,
it's our birthright, you know?
definitely, definitely, definitely. So there you go. That's why we're struggling to build our nation right here. And want to say what's up to Atiba. I see you out there doing your thing. Sister Vanessa, how you doing? I see you checking in. Haven't heard from you before, so that's what's up. Bring Mama Ayo back in. Mama Ayo, how you feel about that creed number 7?
Well, it has both national and international implications.
Mm-hmm.
It says that a people who have been rendered landless, cultureless, languageless, all of that less stuff, has the right to self-determination, has a right to land, has a right to their political, uh, with their political aspirations, has a right to education, has a right to marriage. So it built in that particular phrase, it says we've been here a long time. We've built this land, as you said before. We've fought to stay on it, and it's land for us to use as a people. But we know, embedded in our preamble and the code of, in our Declaration of Independence, we do recognize what we call the Aboriginals and the indigenous, claims to this land. But at the same time, since we are theoretically the same people,
Mm-hmm.
red, black versus blue, black, brown, black, yellow, black, we know how to live in harmony because most of us, we know if we've done our history, just oral history, we know that most of our families are getting ready to tell us, oh, you part Choctaw, you Arapaho, you Cherokee, you Washita, Cherokee, Washita, Olatenji, Washita. So all of that is embedded. Plus, we know categorically there is no debate in our communities that we are the descendants of enslaved Africans. So that phrase is very apropos, and it's also a call to stand and defend your right. That we have a right to claim the land, and we are claiming 5 states, the states where you really, really, really put most of us in this particular area, this contiguous landmass right here, and you worked us sun up to sundown, daybreak to daybreak, with no pay. And you, as I said, I never want us to forget you did every dirty thing you could imaginable. Every dirty thing, every dirty, inhumane thing possible to us. And yes, we're claiming it. I yield.
Definitely, definitely. So that's what's up. But Madam President, what we got on tap for the show today?
So today in our Cadre Corner, we are going to be discussing The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. And our main topic today, since Wakanda Forever came out, we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss talk about us creating our own real Wakanda. You know, Wakanda, that is a beautiful, quote unquote, fictional place that has been created visually on screen. Yet we, within the New African Independence Movement, are working on building our own Wakanda. And so we want folks to know, hey, that's a reality, right? We can bring that into reality. And then, of course, we're going to honor the great Mutulu Shakur and our Black Power file. Yeah, first, let's talk about some news. What's happening? What's going on? Anything we want to talk
about? Yeah, actually, a couple of things. So we haven't really talked about this in a long time, but I actually got some COVID news. Yeah, some COVID news. So I think a few weeks ago in New York City, a judge just ruled that whole mandate that was going on was basically against the Constitution. And he ordered, because in New York, almost 2,000 people were fired from their job because they refused to take the shot. Well, what the judge did is he ordered all of those people who lost their jobs to be rehired. And not only be rehired, but they got to pay them back pay for all of the time that they missed. Because basically what they did was unconstitutional, a big violation of their human rights and all of that type of stuff. So, yeah, so basically the judge said, it's time for us to do the right thing. Y'all know y'all was foul, y'all was out of line, or firing these people because they refused to put this stuff in their body. But now they got to pay back pay. What y'all think about that?
I mean, that's fine and dandy. Yeah. What about the ones that you push the mandate on and then they put this poison in the blood already, and now they got to live with the consequences of that, or have lost their life because of that, because of the man-made? Now, is that second-degree murder? Like, what is? Come on, let's talk about it, because some of them folks went with the okie doke. Oh, I'm gonna lose my job. I'm going to take the shot. How many people took the shot because they felt like they were going to lose their job? So when does where does the accountability stop? Are you saying it stops with the folks that you're going to give them back pay? Sorry. Or what else are you about to hold yourself accountable for? Because you got folks that took the shot all because of a job. And that was illegal. And now some people have died. Some people have lowered the percentage of their heart being active. I can't remember what it's called for them, but when does the accountability? How far does that reach? Because you didn't put people's lives in danger. Now, the people that you fired, they still living. They might have been difficult, but they still alive. What about these ones whose lives is on the line now? So it's that.
Mayo, you got anything you want to add to this?
Am I cracking up?
Oh yeah, a little bit. You kind of.
All right, let me go out. But I'm totally in agreement with the lawsuit. However, all those questions are raised, many more questions, because first of all, how long is this going to manifest? Because we're looking at us all being experiments to a untested vaccines, I should say, and what are the ramifications as we go through the years? Because I know right now, as people are manifesting different diseases, different conditions, nobody's talking about, this is one of the side effects of that shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've taken on this condition because of, you took that shot, in essence, 2-3 years later. Yeah, your organs are starting to have some issues. Who's going to address that? I mean, we got to ask ourselves, and each and every one of us who decided to take the shot, that was your choice. You had free will. So you need to be charting your signs, your symptoms, your illnesses. Now all of a sudden this is happening to me. And don't buy the okie doke, particularly those of us who had underlying conditions from the beginning. Have they gotten worse? Have they gotten better? Have other conditions started to, compound based on your one condition because you've done the shot? And then you have the group who didn't take the shot and who may have contracted COVID and was able to navigate through and come back to who they are. What is happening in you? What has happened because of what you went through? Because you and I should have been, built up a natural immunity. So has your sense of smell been permanently damaged? Are you feeling any kinds of new aches and pains? Have you done this, that, and the other? Particularly those of us who have stayed as plant-based, using those supplements, drinking your water, staying active. Keep a record. So because we're with that base group, we're gonna be that base group, and that's gonna be a comparative study down the line. And with that, I yield.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say is, when it comes to something that is a medical decision, like a vaccine, a medical decision under a time when there is a tremendous amount of political pressure to try to get something under control. Things that of a medical nature should never become politics because your literal life is on the line. You know what I'm saying? If you accept everything that, the mainstream media was pushing about the vaccine, if you accept that, that alone will tell you that the majority of the people don't even need this vaccine. You know what I'm saying? You just don't need it because the facts about the vaccine is it never stopped you from getting COVID.
Right.
The only thing that it claims to do is to make your survival rate, make it more likely that you would survive COVID if you got a severe form of it. But understanding what COVID is, most people survive it anyway. There's only a certain percentage of the population that is really a threat from the COVID virus in the first place. Just understanding these basic facts. You ain't got to get deep on it, but the basic facts that's out there for everybody to know. The majority of people wouldn't need this vaccine anyway, because only thing it's going to do is help you to survive something that you will survive anyway. So the whole thing about you trying to force everybody to do this is extremely immoral and is real suspect. One thing that I about this case that just kind of popped in my head, being it is in New York, and we've been talking about Kyrie Irving because they've been trying to crucify him. Well, one of the first reasons they were trying to crucify him was because he was this big celebrity and he refused to take the vaccine. And they suspended him for damn near the whole year without pay. So I'm wondering, you gonna pay that brother back too? Because he showed as hell didn't need it. He a world-class athlete, And half the people that were complaining about, hey, you need to take the vaccine, and they've been vaccinated, most of them have had COVID. And Kyrie, with his little young healthy ass, because he's plant-based too, he ain't never had COVID. He ain't never dealt with it. So, that just kind of shows the hypocrisy and the contradictions of this whole system, who trying to force people into a vaccine because they don't spend billions of dollars, because they planning on getting billions and billions and billions of dollars off of this thing. So they're trying to make sure that everybody get it. And if you don't get it, you are disobedient individual, especially if you Black, and you got to be put into your place. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of shows how in America, especially us as Black people, we ain't citizens of here. They don't treat us as equal. They don't give a damn about us. You know, soon as we speak up for our basic rights, hey, I don't want to put this in my body. We're gonna come down on you. You know what I'm saying? If I want to share a piece of my history, like Kyrie, and I know this is a different story, but if I want to share a piece of my history with you, even though our histories are intertwined, because for the last 500 years of our history, it's been filled with exploitation, racism, oppression, and brutality. Well, if I want to share my history, which exposes part of your history that you don't like, you come down on me because my history offends you. You know what I'm saying? That just shows you, even in America, we can't decide whether we can put something in our bodies or not. Even in America, we can't decide if we share our basic history. We can't go back and reclaim a history in which they hid from us, stole from us. You know, and I know I kind of got off topic and went kind of in a couple of different directions, but you know, I just thought about Kyrie because he was like the main dude in the news who said, I ain't taking the vaccine. And he got punished for it, just like he got punished for posting something about Black history that offended some folks. Yeah, you.
Brother Prophecy, can you
Yes.
please post the StreamYard link on the Facebook page, please? Several people are asking, texting me. I'm not sure if you can or not. Can you hear me?
Okay. Oh, I mean, I just
The link.
I mean, if I post the link, the only link that I really can post will be the one to get on the show, and that's for ours. That won't be for the general public. I can share the link again. I tell you what, I'm gonna share it to your page, Mama Ayo. I'm gonna share it directly to your page. And yeah, if let me see, if they need to be on, I'm gonna share it to your page, and I'm gonna share it to Sama Ott's page.
Right, they can go to our page once they can just go to our page.
Yeah, I just shared it to your page, so.
Okay. Thank you. Do we got any? Okay, I see it. So my aunt page is there. Brother Prophecy just shared it.
Yeah. Now it should be with yours, Mama Ayo. So, you know, it's already going on my page, and it can go on. It's on y'all's too.
Brother Prophecy, Freedom Power says a judge made the same decision in DC before the judge in New York, but it's appealed by fascist Mayor Bowser. Then there's the issue of the self-spreading nature of the spike protein by the people who were vaccinated. That's criminal. And let me tell you, it's certain people that I get around that I feel like something else coming up off of them. Now, I don't ask people personal business, you know what I'm saying? But it is something different going on, specifically with this whole people that are vaccinated versus unvaccinated, me going around certain folks and feeling something weird, like something weird is coming up off of them. And I really don't know. I don't know how all this spike protein work. I don't know how all of that about. Okay, Melly Queen says she still can't comment. Oh, 3 more days. Okay.
Yeah, we know you a jail Facebook jailbird, Melly Queen. We already know. But yeah, so it's interesting. So it's something to keep your eye on. What they've been doing and it ain't nothing new. They've been doing these type of things to us. We that's why we really need control over all of the institutions, all of the systems that govern our lives, because if we don't, as long as the people who benefit from our exploitation, and as long as we are in a condition where we don't have control over our resources, and we are a vulnerable community, they always going to target us, because they realize that we are the road of least resistance. You know, if they target the wrong people, then they're gonna get backlash. So they always gonna target, just like an animal of prey. They look for the ones that's wounded. And because of our trauma, our over 400 or 500 years of trauma in this in this system, under this system, we have been wounded. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to repair some wounds so we can stand up and fight and defend ourselves in the correct manner.
Very
Yes.
true. Very
Yeah.
true. Very true.
Wonderful. Yes.
So, do another story real quick. So we had there were 3 black people found dead in a Mexico City Airbnb a few weeks ago. Now, according to this, there were 3 individuals, 1 male and 2 females, who traveled to Mexico to celebrate the Day of the Dead. That would be Halloween. That's the original origins of Halloween. Um, and let's say on October 30th, one of the sisters was on the phone with her boyfriend, and she said she was getting sick, and the phone just disconnected. And the boyfriend tried to call her back, and he couldn't get any answer, so he called the authorities with the Airbnb, and they said that they found all 3 of these individuals dead in that Airbnb. And ultimately, they said they believed that it was carbon monoxide poisoning. And the family said they're having a really difficult time getting information and trying to get the bodies back to the United States. I think the embassy is responsible for trying to get the bodies back to the United States, but it's still an ongoing investigation from the information that I'm seeing here. But yeah, it just seems like a horrible situation. You go to an Airbnb and trying to go, celebrate your vacation, and you end up dead with carbon monoxide poison. That seems crazy right there. What you got to say about that?
I mean, it just make me think about, just for protection purposes, when you're going into a space that you're not familiar with, because that's odorless, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They got portable carbon monoxide detectors, because I sure want one now.
I know, right? I know that's something we probably need to look into, because like literally, I ain't heard from nobody dying like that in a minute. I know it was a threat with them older cars. If you if it was cold and you sitting in your car, you could be getting carbon monoxide backed up in your exhaust system. And the way carbon monoxide kill you is you just basically go to sleep and don't wake up.
Right.
A real efficient way of suicide, but ain't nobody trying to commit suicide right now. So yeah, that's kind of crazy right there. I'm gonna bring Mama Ayo back in. You got any comments on this particular story? Did you hear it about the 3 people, the
Yes.
1 brother, 2 sisters?
Interestingly enough, I was listening to a TV show, and they were asking what we call the head executive of Airbnb, and he was saying that they're going to put in more vigilant methods of carbon dioxide monitoring. Of course, they are going to start changing their policies. More and more people, they're going to have to give more details as to who is actually visiting in the place. They're going to be definitely discouraging parties, because we've heard of many different things happening. People renting the whole house and then ending up, even though we're told there should be no parties happening, because you have people who are 18 and older, college students, utilizing a space in a manner in which they just want to party and have fun. And sometimes it does become destructive to properties. There's been a couple of incidences of shooting, and now we have death of our citizens, because if you're the descendant of an enslaved African, you are a new African. You are a citizen of the Republic of New Africa. And I did not hear a public apology at that particular time, and I could have missed it, because I'm sure Airbnb has issued a public apology to the families for their loss, because that's a serious loss. And they're definitely going to be increasing their rates, comrades, because they're going to get hit with a lawsuit. Several. So it is going to affect how we navigate through, because literally, if you look at investments, stocks, you're talking about Airbnb being a powerful force, because hotels, motels, those type of things, they still end up being more expensive than Airbnb. However, we might be in competition with the motel business, since the prices are going up, and they're more homey. People want to stay. They can cook their own food. It's just a better environment. We end up staying in Airbnbs periodically, but it's something that we have to think about. I think that new Africans have the capability of providing safe, reasonably priced facilities such as this, and I would encourage us all to begin to network and to be creative in our version of what we would call a bed and breakfast facilities.
Right. And shifts and changes that Airbnb is making based upon all the data they collect, to me, and I know this may affect their money. It's interesting how industries don't want to do what's necessary if it's going to affect their money. But those folks that are putting their homes on Airbnb, there needs to be certain inspection regulations that Airbnb to have to make sure that their customers are safe in these homes that people just put up there. So what type of regulations Airbnb actually have for the homes that are posted on Airbnb and the owners that own these homes? Like they talked about all the stipulations that the folks that stay in there, that's paying to stay there, are going to have. Well, what type of stipulations are the homeowners going to have in terms of making sure that their space is safe? I mean, some things that are put out there is kind of irrelevant to solving certain issues. Like the only thing that's going to solve this issue is making sure that these homes are carbon monoxide free. And how do you do? You know what I mean? So I'm just saying it's.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it's a case where like technology kind of moved faster than your regulation, because this whole with the whole digital world, everybody's so connected and the world's so smaller now. Hey, you know what? You can just put your house up and people can use that as a cheap alternative to having to buy a hotel or motel or whatever. Sound like a great idea, but when something like this happens, then it's like, damn, carbon monoxide poisoning for real? I'm like, how that even happen? So yeah, I want to acknowledge some people that's out there in the audience that I see. Brother Hamisha, young Hamisha is out there. Hamisha Howard, how you doing? That's actually the son of General Hamisha, someone we know very, very well, one of our grandmaster teachers. Yeah,
free the land, free the land.
Yeah, free the land. To you, and I see Sister Veronica back in the house. Good to see you. Definitely good to see you. Yeah, freedom power. Yeah, you've been making comments already, but I want to acknowledge you, and of course Atiba. So yeah, thank everybody for checking in.
Melly Queen.
But we have a cadre corner coming up. Chancellor Williams. If y'all ain't got that book, that's one of the books I say everybody needs to have in their collection, especially every new African person. But we'll be right back right after this, as soon as I can find me something to load in. This is the New African Perspective, y'all. Free the land.
I fight for land, independence, and for reparations. We gotta do for self-determination.
Being independent is a very, very good thing, because it means that you don't have to be dependent, especially on people who don't like you. I mean, growing your own food, like teaching your own babies our real history, the real truth.
As a people, we are not grown unless we have independence. We are not grown as long as we living under another man's system, operating in his way of things, his laws, and his ordinances that support his rule, actually. So to me, it's not the importance of self-determination and independence. It is mandatory.
Or we could make a change, get off our ass, do something else. Go get some land together, grow our food and do for self. Create our own stores, our own banks, start building wealth. Break them. America, full of promises. Time to cash them in.
Study the writings, speeches, documents of our freedom fighters in order to free our neo-colonialized minds. This is the Cadre Corner.
All right, Mama Ayo, it's on you.
Okay, I'm having a real challenging day today since we've come back from the face-to-face with my phone, but I hope everyone can hear me. The book that I would love to introduce today is, of course, The Destruction of Black Civilization by, of course, the revered and honored Dr. Chancellor Williams. He's up there with all of our, what we call our historians, Dr. Van Sertima, Dr. Ben Yakanan, Dr. John Henry Clark, and there's more. James Joyce with Stolen Legacy, all of them, which comes at a very critical time because as we're under attack by the white imperialist capitalist system to take away knowledge of self out of the so-called public school system, it is my fervor that we have to have many tools in our home libraries, trying to make sure that our children don't forget. Chancellor Williams gives us a kind of comprehensive overview of what happened to Africa, particularly Ethiopia, Egypt, coming on down into Songhai, Mali, Ghana, etc., and actually analyzing the reasons why these particular civilizations fell, why our time on this earth, where all the great contributions, when I talking about African people, people who made contributions to the world, the old Egyptians, the people of Kemet, and of course, Chancellor Williams, the destruction of Black civilization. And many of us have been in study groups, study training groups many years. And these are some of the foundational books. You have to know your history. We have to know the documents that support our right for nation building. We have to study these things. So in our libraries that our children need to begin to study is have them read paragraph by paragraph so that you can discuss, because a lot of this terminology they've never heard before. There's no perspective. There's maps and illustrations, because at the time, Chancellor Williams wasn't able to get a lot of photographs, but he definitely has drawings and remembrances about it. And what I find interesting is that he actually gives us a plan at the end of the book that Black people in America need to consider as far as economics, as far as rebuilding, as far as trying to reinstitute ourselves as a grand and an intentional people on this earth. And one of the things that he talks about, what was the reason that our civilizations begin to fall? And I want us to talk about it, read it, and have a really fruitful discussions, because you will find that some of his analysis is quite controversial and definitely always worthy of discussion and analyzation and putting it in a historical context and coming up like, well, he's right. That is one or some or a aspect of the fall of Black civilization. And with that, comrades, again, The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. I invite you to read it, study it.
That's what's up. The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. Awesome book. Must read, must have. Where can we get this book?
You better go to the library and check it out. No, I'm just kidding. Try to find a digital version. I'm not sure. I'm not into digital type of reading. I like to have hard copies because I like to highlight. I like to find words that I'm not familiar with and look them up in the dictionary. I have been able to locate this book on Amazon. This book can be found through thrift books. So go through those modalities. I'm sure it's around $12, $13, maybe $15 or more, depending on what kind of copy. And every now and then you might want to go to a secondhand bookstore, and you might get lucky. And with that, I yield.
Definitely a must. That's a must read. This should be mandatory. Like a lot of the people have been saying, it's a great book for a study group. I mean, I read a couple of comments. I think you said that. Young Hamisha said that's an amazing book. I was made to read that book a couple of times. And I know you're right, comrade, because your father is the one that introduced that book to me. He told us about, he always said, we got historical evidence right here of who our historical enemy is, in my Hamisha voice, because that book lets you know what happened to our great civilization. Because regardless of what white people tell you, our history did not start on the slave ship. Once upon a time, African people, our people ruled this continent. We had great civilization into, quote, our brother Stephen Biko out there. This is my first time hearing from you, comrade. Good you checking in. But he says, our Wakanda is mapped out in the destruction of Black civilization. And you are so on point with that analysis. It is. And speaking of that, the movie Wakanda Forever, it just was out maybe almost 2 weeks ago, and it's for the second week in a row. It's the #1 movie in America, and you got mixed reviews. Some people say, "Oh, I like it, I love it." Some people say, "I don't know," all that type of stuff. But I always say the good thing about that particular movie is it paints a beautiful picture of an independent Black nation, and it allows us to imagine what a modern civilization could actually look like if Africa was allowed to develop without the hands of European imperialism. I mean, we know from the studies and the research and from the evidence left on the continent that once upon a time we had great civilization. But what if we were allowed to take the abundance of resources that we have on the continent and continue to develop in this modern civilization? What kind of civilizations, what kind of technology, what kind of things we could have built, what kind of nations we could have today if that was allowed to happen. So I think that's a good thing about the movie. It does paint a beautiful picture of an independent, sovereign African nation. But we don't have to just fantasize about it, in my opinion, because there have been a group of people who've been fighting and struggling to bring about a real Wakanda. And that's none other than the Republic of New Africa, something part of the New African independence movement. So what do you think about that? Is that something that is feasible, or is that something we just in our imagination can't never happen? We can't never do it. We gotta always be in control by these white folks so they can give us good jobs and lock us up when we do bad. What you think about that, Sama? Can we create a real Wakanda? Or am I just pipe dreaming?
Well, the thing about it is, that was always been an option. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, right now, that is our only option. If we're saying as a people, we want to have human rights, basic dignity, and integrity and respect and all those different things as humans on the planet, yeah, that's really our only option, because we cannot expect our enemy to feed us in that manner. That's only going to come out of our own brilliance. Remember, we are the original people. We link back to the destruction of Black civilization. We are the original peoples on the planet. And like you said, that's a roadmap in terms of how we got where we are via colonization and other aspects of invasion. Yet the bottom line is we those, specifically those of us in the know who we are, know our origin. We have a responsibility to restore our legacy. We have a responsibility to our children's children. If we're saying collectively that all remedies within this particular system have been exhausted, right? That is our only other option for a happy future for our children. I mean, that's the whole reason why we do what we do, to provide for our families, right? And to restore the legacy or build legacy for our families. Well, we have to ask ourselves, well, what legacy is it that we really, really want to build, And I love the fact that, and I think that when the first Black Panther movie came out, my thing is, it's interesting because everybody dressed up in their African garb to go out and see this particular movie, but in reality, every single day you are African. Every single day you are new African. Every single day you have the opportunity to shift where you put your energy and where you put your power and where you put all your gifts and your talents and your brilliance to no longer support your colonizer or no longer support your enemy, but to support yourself. And to me, that's a self-love issue when we don't make that conscious decision to give all of we to we, because we are the builders. We the one that uphold this whole society. If we extract our input, if we extract our investment and invest in ourselves, because even with the Wakanda, that's us spending money to see something quote unquote fictional when we can spend money to build what we got going on. It goes back to, if you knew African right now, if you knew African revolutionary, if you Chicana revolutionary, right now send some money to the real Wakanda, the Republic of New Africa. If you in support, send some money there. $ PGRNA on Cash App. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's focus. Let's focus our energy. I yield.
Mama Ayo, you got anything to add?
Oh, plenty, but I want to keep it real brief because to me, Black Panther, Wakanda, Vibranium, etc., is a great allegory, but it also is a message. It also is a message when you talk about land, independence, culture, spirituality, education, all of that combined is what we call New Africa. It is the Wakanda. It is incumbent upon us to take that step. But remember, Wakanda is isolated on the African continent. It has its own particular kingdom. It has its own particular set of laws. It has its own technological advances. It is exactly what we have declared in our Declaration of Independence, that we have the right to utilize the land, to utilize the mineral resources. Do you really know what our vibranium is? Some people want to say, what is it? It is the power of the people. The power of the people knowing who they are, tapping into their remembered New African ancestral energy self, opening up that pineal gland and understanding what our purpose on this planet is, and putting it into manifestation. Because our people right now think that this illusion that we sit up in here, this house, in this car, in this street, and these lights, and these blah 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 blah, all of this stuff ain't even in harmony with the laws of Ma'at. There are different ways that we can be in harmony with the earth. Did you see how the people of Wakanda were in harmony? The marketplaces, the love, the smiling, the just being free. We're not serious. We're not serious because you got to step out of what we call death to gain life, and not bring that aura of death with you. That means transforming your mindsets into love for yourself, love that you've been ready to come out of this slavery. Come on, Moses, bring our people up out of this slavery so that we can be 50 years and build a nation, one that we have never seen, that the world has not seen before in the last 400, 500, 600,000 years. What is that going to take? So all of that, and knowing that we're going to have women warriors, brothers, we're going to have queen leaders, king leaders, and we're going to all be working in harmony together. And we're going to love and protect and defend and be a force in the world, because the other aspect of it is they're going to come for what you got. And make no mistake about it.
Exactly. And then relating back to the movie, you know, they added a Chicana aspect of it. Yet the Chicana world was underwater, right? It was powered by vibranium and was quite amazing, you know. And based upon, and this is what the enemy always does, utilize an invention from a young, highly melanated girl that was freaking brilliant, and they utilized it for the demise of our people. They attacked the Chicana community that was underneath water, right? And once again, based upon what the colonizers do, utilize us to battle up against one another, those two entities ended up fighting each other because the Wakandans was trying to protect the young Black girl that they really didn't have nothing. She was just, you know, an inventor, right? And then folks just stole her invention. The U.S. government stole her invention for their own wicked doing. And folks, I'm just saying, it showed the dissension. It literally showed it. You understand what I'm saying? And so we got to be really, really careful when we pinpoint our enemies. We got to know exactly who our enemy is. We are not enemies of each other. We have the same enemy, period. And it's important for us to organize and commune and join forces and do whatever is necessary strategically to make sure that we thrive as people, you know? So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Mama Ayo, you're on mute.
I agree with that, because that was a slight, what I call contradiction of the film.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we have to remember, we're part of a Pan-African, a nationalist Pan-African movement. We're also part of what we consider the non-aligned movement of the world. We're also a part of the world socialist, scientific socialist movement, because we are not capitalists. We are not white supremacists. We're not even Black supremacists. We are trying to dismantle a system that uses white supremacy, racism as one of its tools. But in its essence, it is capitalism and imperialism. And right now, all of us on this planet are under the guises or under the banners or under the foot of neo-colonialism. And if we don't operate from that paradigm and then try to break the cycles of mistrust and distrust, I understand why. Because when you go to South America, you go to Brazil, the indigenous that were there, that are still intermingled with the African slaves. Don't forget who the colonizer was. The Portuguese brought the largest contingent of Africans out of Africa and put them into Brazil. And along the way, here came Spain and everybody else. We don't forget the history because we know where we come from and we know who were there. If you go and look at the Arawak and you look at the Taino and you look at everybody else, we know who those people look like. They was I. If you go to South America, if you go to some of those places, Olmec heads are not there out of happenstance. They did not come out of the sky. Those relics, those pyramids that are there, they mark who was there on that earth. And that you cannot deny. So let's not make it about who brown people and black people, because if truth be known, we were there already.
Mm-hmm.
And if you speak in that Portuguese and you speak in that French or you speak in that Spanish in those areas outside of Europe, you were a colonized individual.
Yep.
And with that, I use.
Mm-hmm.
And just add my little 2 cents in. As far as like the movie is concerned, I think one thing that we get confused collectively about is what freedom actually is. Because a lot of times our definition collectively within our people, we think of freedom is having white people accept you as an equal, or having white people treat you better, having white people like you, having white people stop killing us so much, or stop exploiting us so much. All of those things are the manifestation of a system that has exploited you. But them not doing those things, none of those things are freedom. The foundation of freedom is land. You have to have land in which you control, in which you have the ability to govern, and you have to be in control of the systems and institutions on that land in order for you to actually have true freedom. That's why we always say we struggle for land, independence, self-determination, and the creation of an economic system that ain't about exploitation. Mm-hmm. That's why it's a good thing, you know. That's why I love the fact that the movie paints a picture of African people who have their own land and their own government. Now, if I was to be critical, I honestly, the first movie, I didn't really care for the fact that we was fighting each other, but I gave it a pass. I was like, okay, all right, you know. And then the second movie, we fighting against the Chicano. Mm-hmm. I ain't like that. So I was like, hold on, because how I look at that is, in less than 25 years, this European white man gonna be a minority in this country. A minority in this country. So it is in his best interest to try to divide and conquer the people that he has colonized, the black and the brown people, because if black and brown people united, then it's game over for his ass. So my people, black, brown, whatever it is we want to call ourselves, do not get wrapped up into that bullshit. It is, I mean, it's beautiful. As much as I love it, much as I support my black people being beautiful on screen, and much as I love to talk about an independent black nation, it's still Hollywood. And they still got their agendas, and we got to understand for the little nuances within these films and how they put this in there. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. The first movie, Killmonger, which represented the revolutionaries, people who have the ideology and philosophy as we do. He's the bad guy. He's the villain. He's the dude who want to say, take that damn technology and use it against this system of white supremacy. That's really what he represented. And they say, well, okay, you can have your independent nation, but I don't want them to be revolutionary minded. So he got to be the enemy. And the second one, you basically had with the Chicano nation, which represented the Mayans, you had somebody with a similar ideology. He was like saying he came over ground and he saw people enslaving black and brown people. So we need to go to war with this goddamn system. That's basically what they were saying, even though they made him into a villain. And he had to be do some foul shit so he can be villainized and demonized and all that kind of stuff. But don't get it twisted, y'all. It's still a Hollywood movie. And I always believe in focusing on the positive aspects of things so we can push forward and we can visualize a beautiful independent black nation, a beautiful independent brown nation, a beautiful independent nation that is against the colonizer. in the destruction of an economic system that is that is messed up the whole world. I'm sorry, I think I'm on conversation with comrades. I'm just cussing. I'm sorry, y'all. But my whole point is this, family.
You still in conversation with comrades.
Yeah, we all comrades. My point is this. It's a document called Tools of Analysis. It's an introduction to dialectics. It was produced by the was it All African Socialist Party, I believe, and it basically says that there are positive and negatives in all things. So what you want to do is you analyze the negative and you try to correct upon it, and you build upon the positive. So we want to build upon the fact that you have a example, even though a fictitious one, but an example of an independent nation that was allowed to utilize the resources that is ours, the resources that is within our backyard. That if we can reclaim today, we can do that. We can do the same thing today. You know what I'm saying? But we also want to make sure that we don't get wrapped up in the propaganda, and a year, 5 years down the line, we got a war between ourselves, like the shit happened in the movie. You know what I'm saying? And I'll yield on that.
You know, one thing that I really, really disliked in the first one, when it came to how they depicted Killmonger. They depicted the revolutionary as reactionary, right? They depicted the revolutionary mindset as not having a distinct plan, but just kind of arbitrarily doing stuff.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's the part that I really did not like, because in executing what he says that he wanted to do, it was just poorly executed. You know what I mean? It wasn't all the way thought out. To me, it was very reactionary, the ways and means in which he was like, nah, it was like too reactionary, and that shit pissed me off. You know, me being a revolutionary that is about organizing and strategy, that it made me mad. Like, they depicted the revolutionary as reactionary, and I had a problem with that.
Yeah, definitely.
But that is Hollywood for you, you know?
Yeah, that's basically what I was going to say. It's Hollywood, and it's like a certain amount of that I expect from Hollywood movies.
Right.
And I really, it's a net positive to me. For me, movies like that is a net positive, because I don't expect Hollywood to give us anything that we can utilize to further our movement. That's just not my expectations. It's usually something that's going to do more damage. So anytime Hollywood put a little bit in there that we can utilize, that we can pick and say, hey, people, you see this? This is an example of this. Then to me, it's a positive gift, and it's something that we should always utilize to its fullest potential, because if we don't, then they're just going to control the narrative. That's the important thing that we have to do. We have to take whatever's out there and flip it and control the narrative on it, so it supports our movement and our agendas and our goals and objectives, because that's what they do regardless of what happened. They're going to use it to support their narrative, so yeah, I mean, it's some things, and it's always going to be some things in a Hollywood movie that I think somebody like us would disagree with. But like I said, I think it's always important to gain the positive and focus on the positive and push the positive, so we can help create momentum for what we're trying to do, and we can help educate our people on the ideas and concepts of independence. Because if you don't know, hey, it's another option. We can do more than just vote for Satan or the devil, the Democrat or the Republican, you know what I'm saying, to try to come save us. We got other options we can do for ourselves. We can build for ourselves. We can create our own reality. If you don't know that is one of the options, then you will never select it, because you don't know it exists for you to select. So, that's just my ideas on that.
And the comment you have posted from Freedom Power, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, has already made 400+ million at the box office. If people paid to see the movie, can people research and contribute to $, all caps, PRNA? And that's what we're requesting right now. If you have paid to see that movie, even if you have not, because you said, I am not going to, I have boycotted, point blank, period, go ahead and send that money over to PGRNA, all caps.
Definitely. We have to actively invest in our own revolution, in our own struggle, in our own building of a better world. Because ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a better world, build a better nation, and so forth and so on. We're probably gonna have to keep it moving because I see we already over an hour, and I see my phone telling me it's about to die. I don't wanna die on y'all like I did last time. But in our Black Power file, we have Matula Shakur, which recently just got granted parole. He's going to be released, which is a great thing. So we're going to talk about him when we come back next on the New African Perspective, y'all. Free the land.
America, full of promises. Time to cash them in. You run from it quick. You never keep your word. I learned from it quick. You keep abusing me. You dumb. Europeans murdered 98% of the indigenous population right here in Turtle Island in order to steal the land. An entire nation of African people were captured and forced into a brutal system of chattel slavery just so they could work and cultivate the land. All wars are fought over land, not over terrorism, not over religion, not even to win the hearts and minds of the people, but for the actual land and the resources within the land. So it is safe to say that land is the foundation to all freedom. So if we truly want to be free, then our struggle is for land. Free the land. Leaders, scholars, freedom fighters, all those soldiers who've been struggling for the liberation of black people. This is the Black Power 5.
My name is Matula Shakur. I'm a citizen of the Republic of North Africa. I am a freedom fighter for the struggle for liberation of black people in North America. I am a Pan-Africanist and I see the liberation of Africa intricate a part of our struggle here. And I support all anti-imperialist struggles in the world. The status of my case, I am being held in the MCC under the Preventive Detention Act. I have had a bail hearing that put forward on two issues. The issue of danger to the community and the issue of risk to flight. That I have been a contribution to the community by participating in the liberation struggles and the issues that pertain to black people, since black people live in the community that I live in. On the question of risk to flight, because of that participation, I have been targeted by the counterintelligence program and the low-intensity warfare of the United States government, and I have not chose at that point to give myself up to the United States government for trial. I instead went underground to join the clandestine movement, to do whatever I could to continue the strength of our movement during the repression of the United States government. Based on that, I was able to put forward in a bail hearing the counterintelligence program being waged on me specifically, but more important, being waged against the New African Independence Movement and the National Liberation Movement for black people in North America. Any level of struggle that we are involved in has to do with a broad base of commitment to the fact that we have brothers and sisters who are involved in our movement, who are part of the New African Independence Movement, who have seen that the only way for us to struggle and survive in America and for us to be recognized as the people of the world is that we develop an independent sovereign nation in order to put forward our way and means of developing a society that has respect for everyone in that society and respect for each groups of people's self-determination. That struggle, we think, is the most efficacious way of helping a non-violent universe to exist in this period. At this stage of our struggle, we believe that we cannot not depend upon the people who are running the world now to secure a peaceful coexistence between nations and people in the pursuit of happiness and intelligentsia of advancing the form of life that we live on this planet today. So I am a citizen of the Republic of New Africa. I've been a member of the Republic of New Africa most of my life. I think that as a political prisoner and a prisoner of war, which are two different distinct categories, but are very important for me to talk about at this point. We're struggling in the courts and in the world for recognition of the war, the acknowledgement of the war that black people have been involved in since we've been brought here as slaves. That war constitutes genocide, which is an act of inhumanity to man, and an act of denying us our self-determination as a people who have a right to determine which way we go from here. And because of that, we believe that we are due international recognition as prisoners of war, and that because the war does not, at this point in history, fit the specific categories that has been accepted by the UN Charter, does not mean that we are not, in fact, prisoners of war. One, and it does not mean that as prisoners of war, we should not fight for the recognition of our war as a war that should be recognized by the world body in order to put limited forms, general forms of protection on us and
And that was Dr. Matula Shakur. Everybody getting back in. Matula Shakur, prisoner of war, political prisoner, actually just was granted parole. I think formally he will be released December 16th. Of course, his health, he's in really bad shape as far as his health is concerned, but he's one of our great freedom fighters. 1981 sentenced to prison for his activity with the Black Liberation Army. As you heard him say, a lot of people don't realize this, but basically the United States government declared war on our people, the war on our movement. From the Black Panthers to the Black Liberation Army and other organizations. They initially started as a secret war with the counterintelligence program, but eventually it just became an all-out open war against our people where they would shoot on sight. And Brother Matula Shakur is a brother who was victim of this war. He was a casualty of this war. But while he was incarcerated, he became a doctor, did a lot of great things in the field of natural health with acupuncture. You know what I'm trying to say? Them needles sticking in you and all that kind of stuff. And he did several things, created 2 institutions, and right now we're just so happy that he will be able to come home and live his remaining days outside of the prison camps. But what do y'all have to say about our dear freedom fighter, Matula Shakur? Also, Tupac, a stepdad too.
Yes, well, most definitely salute to Dr. Matula Shakur for your service, for your sacrifice, for your nation and your people. This is one of our revolutionary freedom fighters. And we have to give all respect and 100% support, and we support our political prisoners by making sure that we are upholding the principles and upholding the vision and carrying through and executing the vision every single day, because we are prisoners of war. Every single new African person, every single Black person in this country and beyond is a prisoner of war. Okay, and that's our reality. I know folks don't think we have war because they look at war as looking like a particular thing, because that's what how it's depicted on movies, where it's all out battle day in and day out in terms of uh weapons, guns, and all of that type of stuff. We are on war on every single level. So we most definitely have the responsibility as prisoners of war to build for self, do for self, create our own nation, supported by all of our institutions, everything that's necessary. I'm sorry, I was trying to bring my bio in. Everything that's necessary to build our nation. So salute to Dr. Matul Shakur, like Brother Prophecy said. He was an acupuncturist as well. This is another way and means in which he served our people. Those of because remember, this was the early 80s, right? This is 70s, early moving into the 80s. He was an acupuncturist for our brothers and sisters to assist in drug abuse, getting our brothers and sisters off of drugs. Remember, we're moving into the whole heroin. Our brothers and sisters off of heroin. This is a major epidemic going an attack going through our communities. You understand what I'm saying? And he utilized the science of acupuncture to shift that, so that our people won't have to go from being hooked on one particular drug, right? And have to utilize the quote unquote European science and end up being hooked on a whole nother drug. Exactly. So, and he found that way very, very extremely successful with our people. And like Brother Prophecy said, he ended up creating 2 institutions. What's the name of the institutions? Black Acupuncture Advisory Association of North America and the Harlem Institute of Acupuncture. Like, a powerful brother. So that they was doing. we got to make sure that he is locked down, so that he will not be promoting and creating the shift in our communities that is necessary, specifically in our having to do with our health and well-being. You know what I'm saying? So salute. We give thanks that he's being released, yet we know he's being released with severe bone marrow cancer. So I need everybody that's on the line to send him healing energy, uplifted energy, so that he can make it to the release date. You understand what I'm saying? Safe and secure.
Definitely. Mama, you got anything you want to add to that about our dear freedom fighter, Kula Shakur?
It's crackling so much. I don't know if you can hear me, but I definitely concur with everything that has been said about our Baba Mutulu Shakur. Remember, he's a healer. He has spent his time incarcerated, but let's analyze the methods in which he was incarcerated, because he has identified himself as being a conscious citizen of the Republic of New Africa. Of course, he's aligned himself with the BLA. Anytime that you stand up and you have declared yourself a citizen of the Republic of New Africa, in some camps, that's an automatic sentence for solitary confinement. Automatic. Mm-hmm. So it takes very strong brothers and committed brothers and sisters who can let them know, at this particular time when I declare my citizenship in the Republic of New Africa, at that particular point, you are a POW, you are a political prisoner. And he stated those reasons why. We have the right to our nation. We are the products of being the descendants of enslaved Africans. And trust me, because of his role in the Liberation Army, he has had to submit and be submitted to all kinds of food experimentation. You never know what was put into his food. If he can't practice his own art on himself over time, he's been there a long time, y'all. Yes, the body is going to break down. Do you know what kind of food, what kind of water, what kind of drinks?
And we don't know what else.
Or lack thereof, lack of vegetables, lack of live food in its rawest forms. Do you get juices? Do you get smoothies? Do you even get raw? I mean, come on, y'all. So we definitely want to say on behalf of the Republic of New Africa, welcome, comrade. We are there. Um, Let us know if there's anything that we need, that you need from us. We are, of course, the present administration. Another one of our political prisoners has been released uh, due to compassionate medical release. There are more and more and more. And, the slogan is bring them home, bring them home, bring them home. All of his students that have trained under him, that have spoken to him over the years, all hands on deck, because, it's never too late to do what you need to do from a holistic healing point of view, and to make his life have quality for as long as he can live. And with that, I yield.
Definitely. As Comrade Atiba just said, there's a fun promotion going on for Dr. Matula Shakur with the concert. So we'll be looking into that and providing further information about that. And that's something you can just look into yourself. But yeah, like you've been saying, and one thing I noticed, about our comrades in prison. And General Hamisha, this is something that he told me that he struggled with while he was in prison. And I'm sure that many of the political prisoners struggle with the same thing. They said, they dedicate their lives to the liberation of New African people. And when they look out and they don't see people picking up the torch and carrying on their struggle, then, they say that low L sits in a depression, because they look and they say, what the hell did I sacrifice for? What did I give up my life for? Did I just do this and sacrifice my freedom, or my pseudo freedom, that I have, just so people can go out and do what the hell they ever and just live under a system of white supremacy? Or are we going to continue to fight the struggle? Continue this war that we already understand has been declared on us over 400 years ago. So what I will say, we love all of our political prisoners. We hold them up, and we try our best to get them out. But one of the best things we can do for them is to make sure that their sacrifice is not in vain. Make sure their struggle is not in vain, and continue the fight that they are incarcerated for. Continue to struggle, continue to fight until the war is won. Like I said, we don't fight until we either dead or the war is won. But there ain't no such thing as quit. So we appreciate the brother for doing everything that he's done, and we're so happy that he's finally getting out. And we continue to work and fight and struggle to get all of our political prisoners out. But one of the most things that we can do is continue the fight for the struggle against this unjust, illegal system that got them incarcerated for in the first place. And I yield on that. Y'all got anything else before we close out about our great Matula Shakur?
Welcome home.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome home. Welcome home. So, I think we definitely did it again. And my phone talking to me saying, hey, I'm about to quit on you. So before that happens, I think, we can go and wrap it up. We want to thank everybody for participating in the conversation that we have every week. And join us on all of our novel programs. Tomorrow morning, you're going to get this excellent show called Foundation of the Nation. And these two beautiful queens right here going to drop some knowledge on y'all, going to enlighten y'all, and give y'all something that's going to help better your lives from now on into eternity. Y'all know what y'all talking about tomorrow?
No. Last week we went further into self knowledge, know thyself. We did a know thyself part 2, and we went a little bit more specific in that. So we'll You'll see tomorrow. Just chime in. Whatever it is going to be great. It's going to be something that's going to benefit I and I. It benefits us. Self-development, you know what I mean? Because the reason why we are not liberated already is because of the lack of self-development, you know, or the lack of self-realization. Let's put it like that. So we discuss all those different topics that work towards building, strengthening those core aspects that make us do what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. So we definitely look forward to seeing that. And then on Thursday, you'll see my comrade and myself, comrade Atiba, with our conversation between comrades. And we probably going to be saying a lot of 4-letter words, so please don't get offended. It's just, you know, what we do. And Friday, Melly Queen with the Truth and Power Corner. I don't know what guests you got on, but if she don't have no guests, we'll be on there acting the fool, telling you that good black knowledge and speaking the truth. And then Sunday, tune in to the Voices of New Africa, where we do our thing every week. And then next Monday, we'll be right back again with these two beautiful queens right here doing what we do. So with that, we love y'all. Tune in all week and free the land, y'all. Free the land, free the land.
And when you bring it in, you brought it in for the purpose of weakening the revolutionary tide of the people.
It must not be a capitalist system, but we don't want to exploit anybody. We don't want to be exploited, and we don't want to exploit anybody.
Ain't nobody going to do it for us. There's nobody outside of yourself, nobody outside of ourselves that's going to do this work for us. We have to put in that real work.
Because the better you are at exploiting people, the more successful you are within capitalism.
We want to say salute to all our political prisoners, our POWs, our elder comrades in exile.
The satisfaction we need as a people only comes through liberation and independence.
Because we're not just building for self, we're building for the family, because the family is broken. We're building for the community is broken. The nation is broken. The race is under attack. We're in a state of emergency.
You tuned in to the New African Broadcast Association, where we inform, educate, and elevate.